Another good week. I think our guys are really excited, knowing it's our senior class's last home game, and there's kind of two sides to that, right? There's the seniors that want to make sure that they remember this night. They're going to remember it one way or the other for the rest of their lives, and I think they're very motivated to make sure that they remember it very positively. And then for the younger guys, I think these older guys have they are the catalyst, the change agents, if you will, that have spawned our development and our improvement as a program. And I think the younger guys really want to make it a memorable night for them as well. Injury update. Everybody is good. Colin looked really good today, so we'll see. Brandon has been limited, but we've got 49 hours left. If he can play, he's going to play. He has been in and out of practice in terms of getting some limited reps, and I mean, he's living in the training room, so he's improving every day. But Devontae's good, Brecken's good, Caden's good. I think that's probably Keontae's good. You're right. Josh is not. Josh will not play. Thank you.
Keontae's good.
Keontae's good. Yeah. Josh was the only one. I apologize. So we're not all healthy, but so Josh will not play. But Brandon, we're still pretty optimistic, and then the rest of the guys are good. Marquez had the surgery on his shoulder today. That went well. And did I miss anything? Questions?
Is DeMarvion at 100% out of curiosity?
No, I would say no. You can still see him favoring that knee a little bit, but this is a small town kid that first time ever being injured, so he's kind of learning how to play with it a little bit, and I think he's getting better each week. Delhi, not a small town kid, but Delhi was hurt, if you remember, in training camp too, and even though he was cleared, he was still hobbling quite a bit the first few weeks, and we ran him down on kickoff the other night, and he hit 20 miles an hour on his GPS, so that's moving pretty good. So I think you'll see DeMarvion continue to progress.
Was Caden Stearns ever in the concussion protocol, and what was his injury?
No, what is it? Just head and neck.
You talked about senior night. What's your pride level in some of these seniors that you have here? When you think about these guys, they've been through 2, 5, and 7 seasons before you got here. They have 7 wins now, which is tied for the most they've ever had. So when you think about where they've been through to where they are now, can you just describe that a little bit?
Well, I can't thank them enough. I mean, they have been through some tough stuff here at Texas, and in their time, but they've also experienced. I think it's really cool to be a part of, to know that you were the senior class that kind of jump-started this thing, if it continues to go the way that we plan it to go. And you're on the ground floor of something, and I think they'll always be able to remember that, and I can't thank them enough. Since we've arrived, these guys have been, it would have been very easy, considering we didn't recruit them, for them to not buy in, for there to be some separation, if you will, and they've been awesome, and I can't thank them enough. Their program can't thank them enough, and they'll be remembered around here for a long time.
That's what I asked several of the guys on Tuesday about, that very topic. I mean, it's very hard to quantify, but this is what Texas football is supposed to be. Late November, you're in a Big 12 title hunt, and they're like, yeah, exactly. I mean, do you stress that to the guys that Hey, this is what you came here for. This is what
A
this is supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in
You
those
didn't know
in
that.
those words, but it's yeah. I think there was a little bit of that in terms of, you know, when you're sitting at 6-1 and then you drop a couple heartbreakers,
Right.
like, hey guys, this is, you know, I know this is the most you've ever won in a regular season, but this is not what the standard is. And they responded. They responded last week. They've responded this week in practice. So I think that's probably the biggest sense of pride for those seniors. Maybe is that again, we want to win them all.
Right.
So let's not. We're not ever satisfied with anything below that. But I think they do understand that they are resetting the bar at Texas where it needs to be set at.
When these seniors got here, and this predates you, Coach, but when these seniors who were freshmen got here, there was a lot of locker room division. They didn't have the upperclassmen really embracing them. When you see them as upperclassmen now, how will they treat the young guys?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, I look at a guy like Andrew Beck, and you know, he's roommates with Sam Ellinger and Cade Brewer. You know, two guys that were part of our first signing class here, and the list is, you know, goes on and on. I look at guys like P.J. Locke, you know, continuing to mentor those young safeties, and guys like Chris, you know, mentoring the young corners, and like I said, the list goes on and on. I think that's what separates them, is there is no separation, there's no division. We're all one big family, and whether we chose to be brothers or not, we are now, and they've been a joy to be around. You had a
I was just saying, Jim, follow up on a kind of a different topic, but what do you think that these guys have embraced the close game? Right? Because that's this team's MO, and I don't know if you realize this, but I counted it up today. 13 games since you've been here have been decided by 7 or less.
I've counted it too.
Okay. I mean, it's 6 in a row. The 6 in a row, obviously, of one possession or less.
Yeah.
Lately. I mean, it seems like you should embrace that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's what
you
you've been
embrace it
told.
when we win. I
Right.
think it's a dose of reality to where I think we know that this is who we are. We're overachievers at this point a little bit, you know, and every game is going to be close because, especially in this conference. You want to talk about parity. This conference is unbelievable, and so, you know, we had another team that was, you know, in the top of, you know, our conference, you know, need a 2-point conversion stop to win a game just last week, and so it is extremely competitive. I think embrace, I don't know, but realize that this is who we are, and again, our best is good enough to beat anybody,
Right.
but anything less than our best is not good enough, you know, and that we can get beat by anybody.
I would say embrace in the fact that Oklahoma, Tech, you know, even Oklahoma State. I mean, y'all, even if you're up or down, y'all are in it all the way through.
Yeah, that's
That's what I mean by that.
encouraging. Yeah, like, I mean, you go down 17 to Oklahoma State, we could have checked that thing in,
Right.
and probably would have in years past. And this team, they know that we're never out of it, but they also have realized we've also got to learn how to close the door a little bit too
Right.
when we have 17-point leads ourselves.
Tom, building on that a little bit, so many of these close games have been because of struggles in the fourth quarter. Sometimes it's come to bite you in the butt. Other times you've been able to hold on. What's your message to the team about how to fix that, how to change that, and finish stronger?
Oh, I would disagree. I mean, that you say so many, I would count 2. So, you know, the loss at Oklahoma State was because of the first quarter. That wasn't the fourth quarter, even though it was a, you know, 1-possession game. You know, and the same with the very first game. You know, we were down by a bunch early in that one. So, yeah, that's obvious. You know, in Dallas, we let them back in, but we were able to finish. And then against West Virginia, we weren't. But then against Texas Tech, we were again. So I think, you don't ever want to put yourself in that position. But when it's come to that point, we have overcome that a little bit too, and so that's a good thing. And I think there is a sense, especially defensively, that I had to, even as a coach, you have to remind yourself, especially in this league, you got to stay aggressive, especially offensively. There's no taking the air out of the ball. There's not much of that going on in the Big 12, not with these offenses. And, 4 out of the last 5 offenses we've played are in the top 12 in the country, and we've gone 5 weeks playing 4 of them, and the other one I think is 30th. I think that was Baylor. So, this has been a bit of a gauntlet for our defense, but there's no doubt that we have to get better, and I think part of that is staying aggressive.
If Colin is able to go this weekend, are you just going to go with this big 3, or is Gerard?
Oh yeah, well, Gerard will play certainly, probably more than he has, and it'll kind of be a 3-man rotation, if you will. If Colin's out, LJ bumps to X, and Gerard goes to H. Give LJ a break. Now it's Gerard at H and Colin at X, and then go back to Colin at X and LJ at H. So we can do some mixing and matching now that LJ's proved that he can play outside as well.
Talking senior day stuff, we've talked about this before at the start of the season with you, but you want DKR to be hallowed ground for these guys. Anytime they step on it, it's a big deal. Does it take on even more meaning when it is senior day and it's the last chance for however many of these seniors to be playing on that field?
I think so. We were 1 point away from being undefeated and heading into this game at home, and so we've enjoyed playing at home. And I think again, we're never going to change what we do, but I do think there's an added juice level and added little motivation that this is home, and this will be the last time these guys get an opportunity to play in front of their fans.
Coach, in the recruiting process, you don't really go out and blanket a lot of offers around the country. Can you describe what the evaluation process looks like behind the scenes before you send an offer to someone?
Yeah, we're very, very diligent. I made that promise to the high school coaches in this great state when I first got the job, and that has not changed. If we say the word offer to a kid, especially in the state of Texas, if he wants to say yes right there on the spot, we better be doing cartwheels and jumping jacks and handsprings, that we're so excited. So we are a little bit more deliberate than some schools that throw that word around maybe a little bit loosely, and then try to maybe backpedal if it's not something that they really wanted. And so, but the evaluation process, usually, the recruiting, the on-campus recruiting guys are kind of information gatherers of the young kids, the sophomores usually, and then they provide lists to the coaches that then will evaluate the video. Then we'll go spring recruit, talk to the coaches, the high school coaches, have that in-person evaluation. Usually we tried, I don't think prior to or since this cycle, I don't want to get into offering a bunch of freshmen. I want to make sure we see at least a few games as a sophomore. But then, then you try to get them to camp the summer in between their sophomore and junior year, and then hopefully, by a couple games into their junior year, you can make a solid evaluation. But that doesn't mean, again, you look at a guy like Moro Ojimo, here's a guy that had very few offers after his junior year, or he had offers, but they were, some mid-level offers. And then I mean, you look at the senior year he had, you look at the necessity for quality D linemen across the country, and then, you know, early signing day came in December, and Morrow didn't sign with anybody, and I mean, he was the hottest thing since sliced bread because he had such a great senior year, and we're proud to have him. So there are cases like that too.
Last one.
Have you allowed yourself, as a coach, I know it's always 1-0 and just looking ahead, but just as a human, to think about some of the things that are still on the table for this team, the possibility for a 10-win season for the first time in forever, and what it would mean for this program if you hit that, or if you end up playing for a Big 12 championship? Have you allowed yourself to think or get excited about those prospects?
No, I tried that. I tried that after Oklahoma State. You know, I tried to remind guys big picture, and you know, we're still in first place and this, that, and the other, and we didn't respond well. So we have not talked big picture at all since then, and will not ever again. And so our guys are focused, and they're focused. I mean, this is two top 25 teams going at it, you know, and this is a team that's got just as much to play for as we do in terms of the big picture. So we are singularly focused on this game and this game only, and we'll worry about the big picture when it's time to come up for air.